All right, we are back for round two in our Baldur's Gate Mega Draft Top 8 Arena Gauntlet League. Lots of words. We got Sawyer, who we saw in round one, and we saw his draft as well, playing against Emmett. So we're going to watch it from Emmett's point of view, just for a bit of variety here, since we did see
Just
Sawyer how his
mentioned
deck
the
works.
other 1-0 bracket is Miranda L and Chris P. So the winners of that match and this will be in the finals.
Yeah, so Miranda, we speculated she was playing the Jorn, the Sultai commander, and Chris P we know is playing Minthara. Emmett is playing a Svella, which is a card I've mentioned I enjoy watching and playing myself. He did have to mulligan, but it's a free mulligan, so he does have a functional hand. He'll be able to play his commander on turn three as planned.
There's no Rasad to take it away this time.
If only. Uh, So, unfortunately, Emmett sort of drew a pretty good two drop, but he drew it on turn three, which is the Jetmir's Fixer, the 2/2 for two that can pump itself. So Svella's going to go away. It's going to cost five now.
What is
Uh,
that card? Wow, I'm impressed by this as a commander. I didn't actually think so, but wow, that's really good in this format.
oh, so he's actually left it under the Rasad.
That means removal, right?
He doesn't have any removal in his hand.
Is that a mistake? Wonder.
It could be. He has the Arcane Archery, which is a three mana trick, which maybe he thinks he's gonna assault Rasad with, but Rasad's not gonna enter in combat into open mana. So we'll see. Maybe he just. I mean, he does have a hand where he's gonna be casting stuff for the next few turns, so maybe he figures it's better than just putting it in the command zone. Maybe he'll just get it back for free at some point. But
That's true.
normally you send it to the command zone normally. So without any outright removal in hand, except for a trick, don't know how well this is gonna work
Um,
out.
there's no second white in hand, but we got a Furia's Retribution. Other card is a Cavern Whisper and a Swamp there.
Yeah, so the best that Emmett can do here this turn is unfortunately just play a Jetmir's Fixer. Can't even pump it. His hand, he does have a 4 drop in hand, but it was a double red card, the Calamity Bearer, the rare that doubles damage from giants. Then he has his bomb 5 drop Wrathful Red Dragon, which was almost for sure his first pick of the draft. And he has a Rocks Pummeler as well, just cards he can't really deploy yet. He's just gonna have to trade for one of these 2/1s here to stay alive.
Inverse trades.
Yeah, so he has a Go for Blood in hand, which if he had a second red, he could pump his Jetmir's Fixer and then fight the Rasad, but he just can't afford to do that right now.
The Cavern Whisper is coming down as a 4/4. No
Yeah,
mutate.
no need to mutate. Just put more threats in play. Yeah, he just has to cycle his Go for Blood here. He's drawn a Forest, which is not helpful because he has two double red cards, but he did draw this Wrecking Crew here. This is a big 5 drop with reach. So again, his two potential plays for the turn before he drew the Wrecking Crew were two double red cards. So again, we see these mana bases which are just they're terrible. Like I mean, they're playing like 12 and 13 of each basic or something like that. It's bad, which is
Right
why
now,
which
there's
is
two
why
good attackers.
I thought Sawyer was gonna take that Scoured Barons in the Ikoria pack when he took the Boot Nipper. Just because like even
Attack.
one piece of fixing is just so important. Like we see both of them are not able to play cards here because of these
Yeah.
stinky mana bases, which we know are part of the game. Like it's not like nobody did anything wrong in constructing their mana base. It's just the mana bases stink.
Yeah, I was gonna say Furia's Retribution. Not that Sawyer needs the help on board here right now,
Yeah,
but it would be pretty
Emmett Emmett definitely
devastating.
needs his two. He needs to get those rares into play. So this Wrecking Crew is faced with an unpleasant option of trading for a 2/1 Death Touch and having Sawyer draw a card, so he opts to just take the two, and then the Menace he obviously could not block. So what does
Sawyer has a
Sawyer
choice:
have a follow up here? Yeah.
Death Bloom Salad or black, throwing away Swamp Black. Specialize here with Rasad. Looks like that's gonna be what he wants to do,
Yeah.
which
So that
gets 4/1 Menace.
For
on death.
one menace, the skeleton token, if I recall.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, so he's drawn a red here. So he has the option of using all of his mana to cast the Rocks Pummeler, that's 6/3 with a shield counter, or he can play the Wrathful Red Dragon here, which can kill two things, potentially. So Wrathful Red Dragon, any damage it's dealt will deal damage to, I believe, a non-dragon with the same amount.
Um, I believe
Yeah.
so. Any damage dealt to a dragon. We did find the planes here.
Okay, so we can play
The
that angel.
angel is
That
weirdly the
angel,
second part. The
yeah.
second part only destroys things with less power than an
It
angel.
it like
So it's
deals
not
it
going
does it
to.
does like a rabbit bite effect, right?
It says until end of turn, angels you control have tap target creature with power less. Destroy target creature with power less than this creature's power. So it's a 4/4.
Yeah.
Couldn't kill any of these.
So
That's
it's
interesting.
so it's kind of like a rabbit bite ish effect.
Yeah. Of
Yeah,
course, a
but
four
even
four
but that,
meter.
that 4/4 doesn't even really match up against these two creatures, one of which has reach and one has flying. So um,
Yeah.
Emmett took a beating here before getting these creatures in play, but he's kind of doing okay. I mean, so if he blocks here with his Wrathful Red Dragon, he can send 2 damage at the Dungeon Crawler, I guess. But the Dungeon Crawler isn't doing much, so he's just going to leave his
Draws a
dragon in
card,
play.
right?
Yeah, he's going to give Sawyer the card here. He's not going to trade his Red Dragon, though,
Still a
for it.
pretty clutch attacker there.
Yeah,
Oh, they're gonna die.
Guildstorm Prowler, yeah, that's a premium 2 drop. I mean, like I
It
mentioned
drew
during the
a vampire.
draft, we're using the original versions. For friendly brawl, it's there's no rebalanced cards, so we have it in its full strength. The Guildstorm Prowler.
So the option is to double spell vampire spawn and Deathbloom Thallid, or just a retribution. I think he's gonna go with the double spell.
Yeah, Double Spell just floods the board. He doesn't know what's in Emmett's hand, but Emmett has a 4 drop and a 6 drop, so unless he draws something really cheap, he's not putting two things into play. And he's at 7 facing down 4 creatures, and he's going to play a second creature here. Okay, he's drawn an Antagonize, which along with his Arcane Archery are not helpful when you are behind. So he's got 2 combat tricks and a 4 drop and a 6 drop. He's not going to show either of them. He's just going to go the next game. So um, he was not strictly dead on board, but oh no, yeah, he was. Yeah, because of the menace, he was actually dead because he could only play one thing. So yeah,
That commander situation kind of blew things out of the water early with no follow up to kill Rasad.
yeah, that was. I don't know if it was a misclick because he didn't have the removal. If you have the removal in hand, sure, let your thing go under and then get it back immediately. Um, yeah, Rasad is looking to be quite oppressive to anybody who's trying to get their commander out early, which appears to be most of the players that we've seen because
Maxime
we
figured
did.
out the same thing
Yeah, maybe I should have been
with
running that as
Lagrella.
my commander in league because I had one in my
Uh,
pool. So
I was looking at Maxime's commander. I mean, it's the same idea. So, I mean, Maxime
yeah,
barely lost. It seemed to be working.
yeah, it's interesting because that is literally the only white card in his deck. But we were speculating whether he was going to play that or play Scanos, and I mean, Ligrella is just so much better. Like you have to mutate your mana base a little bit, but he made it work. So Emmett's looking here at what he wants to bring in. I think he has a Goblin Chain Whirler. He's deciding if that's going to be useful. It's hard to cast. That card is very good against Sawyer's deck, though.
I see. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the Chain Whirler, which deals 1 damage to each creature and each opponent and each planeswalker the opponent's control. So yeah, that Chain
Every one of
Whirler,
those.
hard to cast, but looks to be very effective here. Yeah, so Emmett is playing what we thought he was playing, just red green, bunch of big creatures. He has that Workshop War Chief that Sawyer passed on to him. He has
Yeah, we were
Dreadlanorn,
thinking
Rocks
that.
Pummeler, Red Dragon, Wrathful Red Dragon, just big stuff and Svella to ramp to it. But he does have a lot of 2 drops though. So
I'm
if
interested in how much kind of early removal, because you can get Rasad. You can get ahead of Rasad if you just respond with the removal. Your thing's back. Their thing costs 2 more.
So as far as removal for like let's say 3 mana or less, he has a Strangle. He has a potential Go for Blood the fight spell. He has Fire Prophecy. He has Burning Hands, which deals 2 damage. He has Band Together. Those are his cheaper interactions. So he has a few things to do. He has answers.
Pretty
On the larger side, he has a Faraday's Fireball. That's his bigger removal.
kind of know Sawyer's deck already from last game.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could tell me if he's deciding to what he's deciding to sideboard here, if he is.
I was only half paying attention, but he's ready to go. There wasn't
Yeah.
much going on for
Okay.
sideboarding.
I imagine he might have decided to sideboard similar to last match because it is the same color combo. I mean, obviously the commander is different, but the overall play of both decks are pretty comparable. Oscar in the last round, and
Literally,
now Emmett here. Their decks are comparable in how they play out. Again, obviously,
we
commander
literally
is
saw the same
very
opening
different. Yeah, the
in
commanders
game
are
3. So.
very different, but
Well,
uh,
there was a Savella on the other side against him last time, just not as a commander.
yeah. So unfortunately, we've seen Svella in play twice, and it has never got to do anything. Sadness. So Emmett in his hand here has a Null Hunter, a Witty Roastmaster, which is the 3-drop with Alliance that pings the opponent for 1. He has a Skizzik and a Wrecking Crew for 5 drops here.
A
So
Skizzik
yeah, so Skizzik it's that 4-drop, but with Trample Haste.
kicker.
But if you don't pay the kicker, it dies at the end of turn. So it's
Pretty good
effectively
opening here, I must
it's
say.
effectively a 5-drop unless you're about to win the game.
Sawyer's got a Gold Maw Champion, a Rafine Silencer, and a card we're probably going to see here, Short Sword. It's the only play I see here is Short Sword and Equip. He's also got a You've Ambushed. I can't read it, it's too
Is it you're
fuzzy.
ambushed on the road?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a 1
And
mana, either +1/+3 to your creature, or you can bounce your own creature.
yeah, so you got 3 choices at 3-drop, including the commander next turn.
Yeah. Emmett's drawn a Rootless U for turn, which is that 5/4 for 5 that you can tutor up a creature with power or toughness 6 or greater when it dies. Of which I believe he has the Cinderheart Giant, that 7-drop from Call Time, and he has a Dreadlenorm. I believe those are the qualifiers.
Isn't the strongest thing in its set, but that seems really good. I remember we were thinking it would be a lot better when the set was released. Was it Kaldheim?
Yeah, well,
But
Rootless U, if you had the Lindworm, the one that gained life, that was a good one to go get because that was a common.
yes, it should be pretty strong, I would imagine here. Although Rasad might say otherwise, it exiles.
Yeah,
I don't
so
know, but there's
Sawyer has set himself up to defend himself quite ably against this start from Emmett, and it's not going to get any easier for Emmett considering he's not playing a land this turn. So he can play a Svella just to get it eaten, or he's going to cycle for a land here.
Rafine Silencer is like a Geist Senior.
I mean, he has a Burning Hands in his hand, so he can kill Rasad. So the problem with him cycling here is that if he doesn't draw land, he has no play, and even if he does draw land, he plays his Svella, I guess. But might have been better just to play Svella there because he does have the removal for Rasad in hand. So now he's just cycled and doesn't get to do anything for a turn. And
You
getting
did
the
find that
Svella,
card.
yeah. I mean, lands are
It is
important,
important.
but getting Svella into play is also important. So Sawyer must. He mentioned he had some lands.
He has 2 swamps. There's still a Gold Maw Champion, the Loyal Warhound, and you're ambushed.
Okay, so Loyal Warhound is unlikely to find a land in this game, but it's still a 3/1 for 2 with Vigilance of all things.
Yeah, Vigilance.
So Rafine Silencer seems to have a pretty clean attack here.
What's cool is it gives -/- compared to its power. So even with the short sword, it would even give -3/-3 potentially.
Yeah,
Not that it matters.
it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't need that, but it can attack cleanly into this board or stay back to block. Yeah, he's gonna get in here.
Not an attractive block there.
Well, yeah, he'll lose both of his creatures if he blocks, so not so good.
Right, it's keeping open the ambush.
Okay, so that's the +1/+3, or I don't know if he would care to bounce any of his creatures, but let's see. All right,
You're
so
ambushed on the
Emmett's
road.
drawn a Goblin Chain Whirler, which he can't cast, so he's not hitting his lands here. I think he just
Not
has
good.
to play the Svella this turn. He doesn't have a choice, even if it's going to get eaten by Rasad.
It's unfortunate. I
Yeah,
think what's even less fortunate is Rasad can get +1/+3 at instant speed. And you said Burning Hands. It only does. Is that the one that does 6 to a red creature only?
it'll deal 6 to a green creature and
A
2
green
to
creature.
anything else.
That means Rasad's probably going to be protected.
Yeah, yeah, he's not going to get his fellow back as long as Sawyer leaves up a white mana.
He can double spell here with the Warhound after not keep up the trick. We'll see if he decides to.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sawyer knows that, like, his opponent has 6 spells in hand. It's just how many of them can he cast? Right? We saw Sawyer lose a game like this where he was stuck on 3 lands and just uh, the difference was he was actually casting stuff every turn, and here Emmett's in danger of not casting spells. We already saw the turn where he cycled, didn't hit a land, and as a result could not play anything.
Yeah, the one where Sawyer couldn't hit lands was the Owlbear when he's up
Yeah,
against the Owlbear
the shepherd
guy.
and the
Shepherd,
owlbear
yeah.
itself for a moment. Yeah, so Sawyer's just he knows he has the advantage here. He just wants to uh, assume he wants to try and press the advantage, and Rasad can go a long way in doing that.
Thinking hard about it. Oh, sorry, there's a boast potential too. It might be that he wants to Rasad and boast as well, and then he also wouldn't have the ambush
Yeah, so he
on
could
hold.
Rasad. He could attack, tap the 3/2, and get in for 6 here. That's could be appealing.
Boasting is not terribly important in this situation, but it could be a way to play as well. Equipping.
Oh, okay, so he's gonna do this instead. He's leaving
It's
open
probably
his
better.
trick here.
Yeah, it's better.
So Sawyer's just gonna let this trade happen, I assume.
Well, no.
No,
Ambush is
okay,
coming.
okay. He's using the ambush. He does get to eat both creatures, so this. Okay, so he's drawn a land, but it doesn't help him cast anything except for the Chain Whirler. Um, his best bet here is to. He has to. He can't even Burning Hands as an ambush because of the Unicorn trigger. The Unicorn can pump Rasad to survive a Burning Hands.
Yeah, if he does it now, I mean, Rasad's coming right back.
Yeah, so he still has a few life points to play with here at 19, but they're going to fade away quickly here.
Well, not a
When he
bad
looks
draw
to
here.
trade the board.
Firas is the draw, so.
Okay.
Just a quick correction here. I think the unicorn activation is only sorcery speed.
Well,
On her.
it's on your turn,
Yeah, weird. Yeah.
so you can do it anytime
Oh.
during your own turn. Yeah.
Got trapped by the
So
vigilance
it
gate.
can occur mid combat. So here he went for it main phase, and this actually did work out okay for Emmett, but he's still gonna be taking 9 here if Sawyer wants to use the boast. So it's he has his fella, but it's not able to block. So okay, he's drawn a 1-drop here, Goblin Javelineer, which he could cast, making a snow manolith doesn't help either here. Yeah, so
Snowman.
yeah, he's in a pretty bad spot here.
And the draw's cast down. Gas coming down.
Yeah, so
Can't
cast
get
down can
Svella
kill
with
the
that.
Chain Whirler, and then he can tap down the Svella and deal 6 more. So uh, looks like Sawyer is going to be closing this game out in the next couple turns. Just those mana problems, just too many turns not doing anything.
That's too bad for Emmett.
Yeah, no, his deck looked nice. He was Okay, so he actually doesn't even have to use the boast here.
Yeah, Freya's is, what is it called? Freya's Retribution? Furia.
Yeah. This is gonna close it out here, I think. So he's got a mountain here. He can play a 4/5, but that's just gonna get tapped down by the champion.
Yeah, that's it.
So that was unfortunately a quick match there. Just Emmett's mana troubles in that game were a bit too much to overcome there. So we see Sawyer getting to the finals. So
We followed the way
on
back.
the verge of his first league win, perhaps. So we'll stay tuned for that. We'll be back for round 3.